I had an amazing beat a second ago, sitting down about to go stream, and I forgot it entirely. I started reading, not a beat, but like a lip sync. I had, let's hope that the stupid wind that was on last night ended, because the wind yesterday was a bit unbearable. That technically I didn't want to play yesterday because of the wind. So today, let's hope that conditions are, spare a little mercy. A little mercy. All right. All right. What the heck? Let me guess. I logged in. Just innate hiss. All right. Good. Because freaking yesterday, I logged in. Supposedly, there we go. Nothing here. I gotta get out of here. Let's get back to the correct area where I should be. So, yesterday I found out some specific amazing stuff. Like some very specific and amazing stuff that relates to the FSE economy. So I'm thrilled to play today knowing that I can make a lot more money than I thought that I would before. Alright. Right here. So, yesterday, a bunch of wind. Apparently today the wind is calm. I've also noticed that the decrease in FPS between non-stream and stream is 30. 30 whole FPS, but that's fine. I go from 60 to 40. So, something that I found recently. Something that I found recently was that I could start 2 more flights or more flights than 1 in terms of tickets. When you start FSC economy, you're not looking at a single flight. And I literally saw that, like, I'm guessing like 5 hours ago. I was looking for something else within the game. Like I'm still trying to get my tablet to work how I want to work it. 25. 130. I'll do 140 just in case. 140. I'm at where? KRPL. Direct. Alright, 1 CDI. KP34. So when you open FSC Economy, you should treat each flight or each instance to make money as a ticket, meaning you could open more than one as long as it isn't a VIP flight. So I am currently at KRVL. This is my first time, KRVL. And there's going to be a flight to KMDT. There's going to be 4 people here that are going to the same location. So you could take advantage and pick them all up, go straight to Harrisburg, so that's what I'm going to do now. Going to rent dry. I'm going to pick every one of these passengers and load them to my flight. I'm going to open my flight. Alright. Refuel. 294. I am going to KMDT. KMDT. Alright. East flight. East flight. Alright. Let's turn off the engine because we got to deal with asking for permission to go. ATC stations. Apparently I got nothing, so I could go. I am free to go. So we could go to this east flight, and when we open here, log in, we're gonna see 4 passengers. Bang. Ta-da! 4 passengers to the same location. I can make a lot of money by doing that, by merely just looking for flights of individual passengers that are worth a lot. Like a $3,000 per person flight would probably make more money than the VIPs because they could carry 5 people. And I think I've seen $2,000 single flights. And those are the ones that I need. So, let's get out of here. Let's check the weather. Apply and save. Check the weather in the game. Broken. Refresh. Let's remove the manually configured KVOC. Let's just do KVOC just in case. And keep it using this. Apply and save, which should technically be the same thing. Let's update the weather in the bets in the client. Update weather here. Real weather. Go. degrees. Let's get out of here. All right. I don't think I submitted the flight plan. Hey, slow down. Did I submit the flight plan? I don't remember. Send. Apparently, wind is still pretty high, but it has diminished. We're going to have a full report once I'm in altitude. Although it's a pretty short flight, it's just 4 minutes. We have 17. There's a 17-mile wind out here. But I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. I got a tablet. I tried installing 80%. I tried installing freaking SIDs and stars to it, and I couldn't. What I did notice you could do is that you could use mini nav map and save certain screenshots of the program to play here, meaning I could upload a star or a SID from a drop-down list in mini nav map and upload it to here using the Mercator, using Mercator PDF files as a Mercator app, and then you would technically see sort of the procedure with the plane so that you could follow it. So we're heading to Harrisburg. We're basically headed to right here. Where is it? Apparently the airport that I'm going to is not here. This one. This is where we're going. Vectors ILS. Go. We'll slow down. We'll go down to 3,000 feet. This is the cone that we're headed. We're headed in here. We're probably going to catch this cone like halfway. No, we're already there. See, I'm right there. Kinda not in my existing position, but that's where I'm headed. Now I'm gonna align with that sucker right there, that green one. Let's double check if there's fucking towers, because these towers are literally like ghost towers to me. I think that I'm alone, and all of a sudden there was ATC where I'm at. Like, look at this. Look at them appearing and disappearing. This is ATIS though. What the fuck? Did I disconnect my client? I disconnected my client psychologically. Right. Like an idiot. Yeah, we're right there. I would like to know the fucking chart to see if I'm too high or too low. But I can't have that privilege. I think I'm a little bit too high for the ILS. Gonna lower my nose. Put it right in there. Wheel is down. $300, 10%, AP off, 1,000 mark. It was hard. You know why it was hard? Because I did not tighten my yoke. This is a very scary landing. I did not tighten my yoke. Jesus Christ. I'm sitting here pulling on it, and my yoke lifted with my iPad and everything on top of it. That was a scary situation. Alright. Nice and quickly. Let's get the fuck out of here. my yoke was not tied down. I pulled on it, and I'm like, oh my God, did I break my yoke? Did I break the yoke? No way. I did not break the yoke. And then I noticed that it's just, I didn't bind it down. And I'm guessing any one of these right here will do. Alright, let's tighten this shit, Jesus Christ. That shit was scary. It was a hard landing because this thing was loose. I pulled on it. I was like, what the fuck? My fucking iPad's about to land on my lap. I can't pull that hard. Luckily, I didn't just crash the plane right there. Put it in right. I almost fucked it up. Push this in where it belongs. Alright, now that yoke isn't going anywhere, Jesus Christ. Alright. Open X economy. Finish a beautiful flight. And start another one. KMDT. Let's see where the money's at. All of them are 5,000. Already guaranteed. You're already guaranteed at least 5,000, which is good. Every airport now has at least 5 people from which you could get 5,000 and above. You know, as opposed to taking those. What the fuck? Look at this fucking guy. Fucking truck in my face and shit. As opposed to taking these crazy flights or whatever. Now you have like a serious selection process. Alright, so we got one going to LaGuardia, which should be a good location to go. But I don't want to go to LaGuardia. I want to go to this one. I want to get 5,000 right now. So this is 5,000 right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Beautiful. 5,000 each flight now, or more. Add selected flights. Let's refresh the page and the re-rent. Alright. Let's set up the flight plan because I definitely closed down, so I have to redo everything. Have to redo everything. LearJ24, LJ24, 1,000, 25. So yeah, today's definitely a much better time to fly than yesterday. 150 is 130, 150 is fine. Departure airport. KMDT. Direct. We're headed to, let's see, what type of flight is it? This is 44, and hopefully these number of flights are here, because this thing has some slight difficulty catching numbered flights. Millbrook, got it. Activate. This is an east flight. East flight. East flight 25 VFR. Send flight plan. Wait, missing gas. Missing gas. Alternates my nearest. Okay, C, X, Y. Oh, send flight plan. Wait. Missing destination airport. Oh. 44N. 44N. Send. Let's check towers. This is what? DC Center. Let's contact DC Center. Hold on. I know exactly how to check a DC Center now.
Oh, sorry, I missed the comms over to...
Controls my area.
Set up 579, radar contact 6 miles north of Baltimore Airport, 6,000, correction, 7,000. Proceed to
Fantastic.
climb, maintain 17,000. Good evening. 6-1 and 17,000 for Delta 579.
Now I could check Fantastic and check if the area that I'm at is controlled by something. Just by checking Fantastic. Map options. Alright, let's see. Let's do it. Let's do a call sign. And LA. 5. Nope. I'm definitely out. I'm definitely out of control. I know how to do it now. So I am looking at Fantastic, and Fantastic is telling me that I'm not in someone's airspace. So I am ready to go to my destination without much problems. There's no suspect activity for me right now. There's literally no sospechoso. No sospechoso.
Full 00.
Put these guys on.
628, climb and maintain.
Put these guys on that. Let's go on 6666. Mode C. Devil's call sign. 666 call sign. I already sent the flight plan. Let's start it. Wait, I gotta put gas in it. Gotta put gasoline. Gotta put gasoline. 94. 294. We are ready to go. Boom. $5,000. Some of them are gonna be like 20,000. I'm going to be able to fly 20,000, 25,000 because of this. Just because of this. And now flying slow planes that carry a lot more people become the initiative because now I know how to fill planes up. So I could find a plane that carries a lot more people even though I'm going slower and make more money. Although I would take time to make it there. But reverse. Let's get out of here. This is a non-controlled airspace, so we're headed straight to the tip of 31. Now I know that all the planes that I did download are worth something. I didn't know that I could basically just continue stacking in the flights. I used to just do one, thinking that you could only load one flight. But now I could fill up 30 flights if they're available. You know, like fly a piece of shit plane, but there's 30 flights right there. You know, there's literally 30 fucking flights right there, and then make a $30,000 flight on a piece of shit plane. And that's the plan. That's literally the plan. We're currently using this for now, but once we see the opportunity, I think we should pounce on that opportunity real quick. Alright? We should pounce on the opportunity to fly a really bullshit or a piece of shit plane on an airport that's packed. Even if it takes, you know, driving a couple places to get a plane that could carry a lot of people, to get a lot of people, and then it looks like a pretty good alternative. I'm down. As long as I'm making money, I'm down. But it has to be specific, you know, like I need to see 35, 40 people go to one destination. So I could just click on every one of them and load them in the plane. I didn't think you could do that. If not, I would have been able to fly like different types of planes or whatever. I could already afford, you know, I definitely have some other planes that could fit a lot more people. So I know how to fill them up. In fact, I should fly on this stream with a lot of people. I just gotta see where it is, and I gotta fly there we go. God damn, this center line alignment was perfect. Jesus Christ. Stop. Break. I'm literally in the center of the runway. AP. 2,500. 54. 10 degrees. Gas. Let's get out of here. We are leaving Harrisburg, headed into a unknown airport. It's a really tiny piece of shit. I don't know if I could search for it. Can I search for it? It's a 44N. Yeah, I need these. I really want these, but I tried downloading a bunch of them from the actual website, and I was unable to. Let's hope I don't get misguided off course because of the wind, although I doubt it, because the wind isn't that strong today. So yeah, I tried looking for the AFAA, the book that has all the SIDS, all the stars, and I tried uploading into this tablet, and it didn't load 4,000 entries. Like I tried to install a whole gigabyte of information, and the whole gigabyte of information did nothing. Like it kept crashing and explain. I'm guessing you need to download it like little by little, or like archive it, or get it somewhere that it isn't from. Get it somewhere that it isn't from. I could go full throttle. I don't need to go slow. It's only 156. So I tried installing all of North America in the tablet, and I was unable to do so. $120, so it's 150, 150, 200. Let's check on this area for 44N. $46N, I'm close. 44N. 46N. That's too far. So I got like 46N, where's 44? Yeah, I gotta start researching the planes that I do have that have a lot of people. That have a lot of people. So I could take a Bristol, because I'm pretty sure I have a Bristol, right? Let's see, where's the Bristol at? Sorry, I'm delaying the flight a little bit. I have a 312, which is likely what I have it. Bristol 312 right here. And 312 and 314, 300 and 312 is the same thing. There's no difference. I just need 100 flights or 100 seats. KJFK. So in KJFK, you don't have 100 people. You gotta look for the airport that has like a massive list of people that you can take. Let's look at KLGA. Another thing that I'm pretty sure is that they could stack. So you don't need to only get or load up a single ticket per person. If they're in bundles of 3, you could select all the three people flight, although you get paid much less per person, and put them all in a bigger plane. What's up, Dawson? No, I don't have that word pass. Why do you ask, David Dawson? Pretty funny. That's racist. 55. Let's look at the altitude. Wait, let's check the altitude here. Hold on. What do we have? Apparently it's pretty flat. Unless it's here. $150. So if this is 150, half of it. Bruh, not really. I stopped talking in Ebonics a while ago. I mean, we all did to a certain extent, but culture is so divided, and people are so indifferent now about those things. They're so picky about it. We just stopped. I mean, we all did for a little bit. I'm pretty sure everyone that you know was someone that was like that. But for the most part, once you like grow up or whatever, it's just shit that you just drop. We're breaking all laws today. No fucks are given today. So how you been, David? What you been up to? Like, you grow up. You technically just... I started befriending as I was growing up people that are younger than me, so... Like, I was, like, technically forced to set the example to some extent. Like, I was literally the example, so... Me being, like, 26, hanging out with people who are, like, 24 or in their 20s and stuff... Like changed me who I was a lot. Like if I would have stayed, I just stopped being social too. Me in here, I edited a 60-page paper or added like numbers to the index and like align it, because if you skip a page or if you move a heading, if you move the paper, the entire numbers move. So I sort of made it good so that the numbers are strong, and they might still change. And wrote some couple things for the class within the classroom. Tomorrow, I'm gonna sit down and write for the class and edit. I took it pretty easy today. I sort of felt that I finished the class already, so. All I got is like one more week of the class after Tuesday, and it's already Sunday, or today's going to be Sunday. It's going to be Sunday in like 3-4 hours. So, being Sunday, I just have to like write for the classroom and then start editing the entire paper. 67 pages of editing for tomorrow, which is just a listening process. Like, you're not really interested in like, grammar or whatever, because I write exceptionally. So maybe, if possible, adding each and every single one of those paragraphs into a spell checker, just to look for commas and stuff, like basic stuff like commas and stuff like that, and then edit while listening to it. I like to listen to the paper, like, and then notice which sentence is a little bit too long. Like if the speaker's taking like fucking 20 seconds to say something, 15 seconds to say something, the ear could tell when a sentence is long, so I cut that one off. So that's all I got to do. And if possible, maybe cite a little more. I was thinking of looking for more references to cite with that paper. And that's it. And then I finish the class, and then I can focus on the thesis coming hopefully Wednesday. Next Wednesday, I should be 100% balls deep in the thesis. Yeah. After class, after writing for the class, balls deep in the thesis. Just 100% doctoral thesis mode, so that my brain changes from marketing into leadership, like from a whole concept into another thing. And that's it. And I also cleaned the pool today. I'm trying to make some very dirty water in a pool clean, because there's like a lot of plant matter at the bottom. So instead of draining it entirely and then cleaning the liner and refilling it, I'm sort of like using a shirt, hoping I'm able to clean it without the leaves and whatever just giving me a hard time. It's like a dirt, like broken up leaves turned into like a dirt. So you have to, I took like a t-shirt, right? Like a t-shirt, and I tied the t-shirt on the scoop thing from the pool, and I'm scooping that water and like filtering it through a shirt, and sometimes dumping the water too. I want to see. Yeah, it's pretty serious. My thesis isn't just about leadership too. It's about like engagement, well-being. It's a bunch of shit. Like 2 questions are math, and then the leadership question. The leadership question is qualitative, or just basically my research. But it's adding a lot of information, so hopefully they could accept it as a case study. It has over 300 references, I believe, right now. Each and every one of them cited. So let's hope that the quantity of information that I provided for all 3 questions is sufficient to make up a case study, which I'm pretty sure it will be. But like, you never know. Alright, so I'm approaching my airport. Where the heck is it? Apparently, this airport ain't here. "44N, oh, there it is. This one it is. Alrighty then. It's that one behind this airport, that line right there. That's not fucking it. I thought those line right there was it, but apparently that's not it. No, those are it. Hold on. That's pretty funny. I'm all confused thinking the map's confusing the shit out of me right now. The tablet's confusing me. It's those lines right there. Let's double check with my handy dandy super bright night goggles. Handy dandy extra bright night goggles, this too. Illuminate everything in your path. Am I sinking with 35? Am I really sinking? Come on. I shouldn't be sinking. I'm holding. I'm not sinking. Da, da, da. Da, 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 da. Whoa.
Sync rate. Hold on.
1,000? Jesus Christ. I did not make it. I did not make it back to 36. Let's see if I could do a super duper quick. Vroom vroom. The fucking terminal so far. Guessing I could stop right here. Right here. Oh, cement spot right here. Oh. That night vision is potent. Potent. Da-da-da. 44N. Let's see what the heck's available from here. Nothing. I don't want to go back to Harrisburg. I don't want to go to Quebec. I should try relocating to fly the other bird. To fly 100-person plane. Hold on, let's check. I'm gonna fly some caca. But I'm gonna lose money. I don't wanna do it if I'm gonna lose money. Hold on. Thinking the Boeings are impossible to find on this one. What type of airports do we have? Cape Town, nothing. Nothing valuable in this one. Let's see, 15NY, nothing. Completely consumed. Nothing. They're really empty. Airports that are near me have no assignments. No assignments in New York. Jesus Christ. No assignments in New York. We have a predicament. We are going to have to go elsewhere. And that's why we have this, so we don't have to open fucking things. Let's check Williamsport. What the fuck is this airport in Williamsport? This is KIPT. KIPT. Nope, no money there. Let's check on the border of Erie, Jamestown, KJ, HW. No money. It's like FSC economy, people have doubled. Yeah, literally doubled. It's like there's no. Let's check Boston. Okay, boss. Right, so K-Boss has a lot. We got 5 passengers in K-Bus. Let's sort them by destination. So Boston has go. You should probably head to Boston and get that $8,000 flight from Boston to North Carolina. So we're going to Boston, baby. We're going to Boston. 44 in. 44 in. We're going to have to ask permission to get there. Try. Da, 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 da. Refuel. Going straight to K-Bus. We're gonna have to file it so that they consider us a flight. already there, so let's refile. Let's file this flight plan real quick. We're going for 44N, direct, okay, bus, 11, nearest, KPO, East Flight, 44, let's check the freaking time, 220 Zulu, 220 Zulu, full voice, 220 Zulu, 12,000 feet, EFR, send flight plan. Let's, I'm pretty sure I am in an ATC station. Let's check Backtastic to check if there's an approach. Backtastic. Alright. I am definitely outside any recognizable, but I'm headed straight to Boston, so I'm going to give myself my freaking 5112, you know, like a decent looking squawk code once I call in that I'm approaching their airspace. And that's it, we're ready to go to Boston. We are ready to go to Boston. Start. Empty flight. Go to flight. Chalky milk reverse. This one. Reverse right here. Getting Austin power vibes right here. Alright. We are ready to rumble. 125, break, hit, wiggle for maximum, so we can get the heck out of here. 12.5. And we could go full throttle to Boston, so full throttle will go. No AP, 67%. Navigation, full throttle. Boston is 127 miles away. And we're going to ask permission, because I'm pretty sure Boston's going to be awake. I hope Boston's going to be awake. Boston should be there. That's JFK approach. Alright, so ATIS is on. We're center. There we go, Boston approach.
Golf traffic 4 mile final for the crossing. Take most of the traffic. UPS 1520 heavies a mile from Bend, cleared ILS runway 33 left, speed 170. Speed 170, cleared ILS 33 left, data to field inside UPS 1520 heavy.
American 1738, radio check.
Out and clear. Delta 522 is ready to taxi. Delta 522, cross runway 4 left at Foxtrot and then Alpha Echo to your gate. Alright, cross 4 left at Foxtrot, Alpha Echo to our gate, Delta 522, thanks for the help. Alright. Shipwood 2036, I'm showing you a mile left of course. Do you have the airport in sight still? Alright, let's confirm we're clear to land, Westship 362. Westship 362, runway 33 left, clear to land. Clear to land, Westship 362. Delta 181 heavy, radar contact, climb and maintain 14,000, say altitude leaving.
Passing 7,000 to 5,000, climb to 1 full, 11 full, 181.
Giant 5239 heavy, leaving my airspace, Boston Center closed, frequency change approved.
Alpha 722, Giant 5239.
Boston approach, Cessna, November 145, 70 uniform.
1457 uniform, Boston.
At 57 uniforms, about 26 miles to the southwest, inbound to land, full stop, we have information, hotel.
1457 uniform, squawk 3432.
3432, 57 uniform. American 1738 at stand B22 with information Alpha, ready for push and start.
American 1738, you're at Bravo 2, you said?
Affirmative.
Push to your discretion. Remember 1457 uniform, radar contact. Fly heading 090, maintain VFR at 3000, you're cleared in the Bravo.
Okay, flight heading 090, VFR at 3000, cleared into the Boston class Bravo, 57 uniform.
Boston Bridge, good evening, number 220, Echo Romeo, 9 miles from Graham. Number 220, Echo Romeo, Boston approach, Hanscom altimeter 2978, visual approach 29. Visual approach 290, Echo. Last approach, November 4657, 2 from Dream. JetBlue 2036, runway 33 left, clear to land. November 4657, Boston approach, Hanscom altimeter 2978, visual approach 29. Visual approach 29, November 4657. November 61 Delta Delta, descend and maintain 3000.
3061 W. Boston approach, West 362 clear on November.
EPS 740, descend and maintain 3000, vector through the final for spacing.
Alright, 3000 vector through the final, EPS 740.
West 362, Alpha, echo to the gate.
Alpha echo to the gate, West 362.
Pacific 6691, fly heading 150. Fly heading 150, Pacific Airways 6691. Confirm EPS 1520, every square to land 33 left. EPS 1520, yeah, there's an Airbus on about a mile final, I'm not really sure what he's doing at this point. Runway 33 left, number 2, clear to land. Roger, 33 left, clear to land, number 2, EPS 1520.
Boston approach November Lima Alpha 445, headed on an eastbound flight from Pennsylvania. My squad code is 5112. I'm at 12,000 feet and approximately 78 nautical miles from the Bravo airspace.
Call me back at another 30 miles, sir.
Another 30 miles, November Lima Alpha 445.
Number 4657, fly heading 090, report the field in sight. Heading 090, report the field in sight, November 4657. 45 foot, Mike, midfield right down with 29. Number 135, Juliet Mike, runway 29, clear to land. 29, clear to land, 35, Juliet Mike. Delta 181 is leaving my airspace, frequency change approved.
Up on still flying A for those, I'm only one year ago, man.
UPS 740, turn left 300, on the localizer.
300 on the low, UPS 740.
Number 61 Delta Delta, descend and maintain 2000.
Descend maintain 2000, 61 Delta Delta.
JetBlue 2036, exit left, next left turn off please, no delay, traffic 2 mile final.
Boston approach, Southwest 1124, request IFR clearance to LaGuardia as filed.
On request. Boston approach, good evening. Arrow 574 Sierra Papa, IFR on request on deck Manchester, negative is. You said you're at Manchester? Affirm. Unicom. Okay.
You speaking with Southwest 1124?
November 4657 is Bedford in sight. Number 4657, enter right downwind, runway 29, clear visual approach. Right downwind 29, clear visual approach, November 4657. JetBlue 2036, taxi via Alpha to the gate. Number 61 Delta Delta, turn left heading 360, join the final approach course.
360, join the final approach course for 61 Delta Delta.
Number 57, uniform, fly heading 110, maintain VFR at 2000.
110 VFR at 2000, 57 uniform.
Pacific 6691, turn right heading 240. Turn right heading 240, Pacific Airways 6691. UPS 1520 heavy square, 33 left on November. UPS 1520 heavy, taxi to parking via Bravo, Lima Alpha, and give way to a JetBlue at Zulu. Bravo, Lima Alpha, give way to JetBlue at Zulu, UPS 1520 heavy. UPS 740 is 4 miles from Cohos, cleared ILS, runway 33 left approach.
Cleared ILS, approach 33 left, UPS 740.
Pacific 6691, reduce speed to 190. Reduce speed to 190, Pacific Airways 6691.
1738, ready for taxi.
That was 2 at 1 there, 95 Juliet Mike, taxi to parking. Have a good evening. Who else called?
American 1738, ready for taxi.
Where are you?
Stand Bravo 22.
American 1738, runway 27, taxi via Alpha Charlie, cross runway 4 left, hold short runway 4 right. Pacific 6691, heading 300, join the localizer.
Heading 300, join the localizer, Pacific Airways 6691.
UPS 740 is a mile from Cohos, cleared ILS remain 33 left.
Cleared ILS 33 left, UPS 740. Boston approach, Southwest 1124, ready for pushback for 33 left with Gulf.
Number 61 Delta Delta, you're through the final, sir, heading 300 to rejoin.
Say that again for 61 Delta Delta, we're intercepting right now.
Are you intercepting 33 left or 32?
We're intercepting 33 left, 61 Delta Delta.
Okay, I guess that's fine. Number 61 Delta Delta is a mile from Cohos, cleared ILS runway 33 left approach, best forward speed until Nimoy.
Clear ILS runway 33 left, and it's best forward speed for 61 Delta Delta.
Actually, number 61 Delta Delta, sorry, disregard that, just normal speeds, please.
Normal speed, 61 Delta Delta.
And you'll have a 757 that's a mile in front of you, descending out at 3,000, the speed should work out.
Roger, I'll slow down just in case I see this call sign in front of me.
Thanks.
Boston Center, November Lima Alpha 445. I'm currently approximately 45 miles from the Bravo airspace. My squawk code is 5112, November Lima Alpha 445.
Number Lima Alpha 445, squawk 3467.
3467, November Lima Alpha 445.
Southwest 1124, you with the push rate?
Affirm, push for 1124.
Southwest 1124, push on to Echo, approved.
Echo, push 1124.
UPS 740, runway 33 left, clear land.
33 left, clear land, UPS 740.
Number 61 Delta Delta, reduce to final approach speed.
Final approach speed, 61 WD. Number 61 Delta Delta has the UPS in front of me, just work out.
Thanks. Number 1457, uniform, fly heading 060.
060, 57 uniform.
Pacific 6691, 4 from Cohos, cleared ILS, runway 33 left approach, reduce to final approach speed.
Cleared ILS, runway 32 left approach, and we'll reduce speed to the approach, Pacific Airways 661.
Number Lima Alpha 445, radar contact, fly heading 120, and maintain VFR at 7,000, you're cleared in the Bravo.
November 4657, down 129er.
Number 4657, number 29, clear to land.
Good land 29er, November 4657.
Number 61 Delta Delta, do you have the field in sight?
Affirmative, we do have the field in sight.
Number 61 Delta Delta, change to 33 right, runway 33 right, clear to land.
33 right, clear to land, Delta Delta.
Number 57 uniform, report the airport in sight.
Field in sight, 57 uniform.
Number 57 uniform, proceed inbound, runway 32, altitude your discretion.
32, altitude's our discretion, 57 uniform.
Number 220 Echo Romeo, fly heading 090, descend and maintain 3,000, report Hanscom in sight.
090, 3000, all report the field in sight, 0 current.
Westjet 362.
Go ahead, Russia 360.
Okay, the guy in front of you, it looks like he pushed without talking to me, but, okay, you're going to Terminal A, right?
Aye.
Okay, Westjet 362, make a 180 if you can, and then 2 right turns onto Bravo, and I'll morph you in a second.
Roger, we can just pop over and open 2, right? Checking message 1.
Okay, Westjet 362, that's fine. 2 right turns to Alpha 2, join Bravo.
Roger, we'll join Bravo Alpha 2.
Pacific 6691, runway. You need to slow down, sir. Runway 32 left, number 2, clear to land.
Runway 32 left, clear to land, Pacific Airways 6611.
and you need to slow down, sir. Reduce to your final approach speed.
Reduce to final approach speed, Pacific Airways 6691.
November Lima Alpha 445.
Loud and clear, November Lima Alpha 445.
November Lima Alpha 445. Radar contact, you're cleared on the Bravo. Fly heading 130, maintain vehicle at 3000.
130, November Lima Alpha 445, 3,000 feet.
UPS 740, we're off on November.
UPS 740, Alpha to parking today.
Alpha departure, UPS 740.
Echo Romeo, how's it going, Fed? Number 220, Echo Romeo, enter right downwind, runway 29er, clear visual approach. Right downwind 29er, clear approach 29er, Echo Romeo. Number 4657, taxi to parking. Taxi to parking, 4657. Pacific 6691, runway 33 left, number 2, clear to land.
Runway 33 left, number 2, clear to land, Pacific Airways 6691.
Number 57 uniform, runway 32, clear to land.
Clear to land, 3257 uniform.
Washington approach, Southwest 1124, push back with hotel.
Southwest 1144, okay, Westjet 362, turn right on Kilo, taxi to the gate via Kilo. Alright, Kilo, we'll head to the gate by Kilo, Westjet 366. American 1736, you ready to taxi? American 1738, you ready to taxi?
American 1738, affirmative. I've been having some trouble starting on my engine, so I should be taxiing right about now.
American 1738, runway 27, taxi via Alpha Charlie, cross runway 4 left, hold short, runway 4 right. American 1738, runway 27, taxi via Alpha Charlie, cross runway 4 left, hold short, runway 4 right. Number 61 Delta Delta, hold short, runway 32 left at November. Hold short 32 left at November, 6 Delta. Number 57 uniform, if you want to slide over to 32 left, I can do that, just whatever you want.
I will take 3-2. Haven't done that in ever, so we'll take that.
Okay. Number 220 Echo Romeo, do the field and sight.
Still at the field side, 0 Connor.
Okay, I did give you the visual approach glance, right?
That's it from, you might have to take the left downwind, we're closer toward the left side than we are the right.
Number 0 Echo Romeo, approved as requested.
British Press at 0 Connor.
Pacific 6691, cross runway 4 right at Foxtrot.
Cross runway 4 right at Foxtrot, Pacific Airways 6691.
Number 61 Delta Delta, cross runway 3 left at November, then Bravo to signature, good night.
Bravo to signature, November on 32 left, 61 double DC.
American 1738, where are you going, sir?
I want to approach, I'm sorry, I'm having a bit of difficulty navigating the airport. My charts are outdated.
Okay, do you not have updated scenery?
No, it doesn't appear that my taxiway signs are displaying any numbers.
Okay, do you have an airport diagram, sir?
Yeah, I've got one right next to me, but it's not really helping me out right now.
Okay, so American 1738, it looks like you're in the middle of a taxiway right now. I need you to go north. Go north on that taxiway, please.
Affirmative, heading north.
Southwest 1124, runway 27, taxi via Bravo, Charlie, cross runway 4 left, hold short, runway 4 right. You'll be following an American A320, right to left on Bravo.
Okay, I thought I had 3-3 for departure, so Bravo, can you please say again?
Southwest 1124, runway 27. You're going to follow the American A320 right to left on Bravo. So runway 27, taxi via Bravo, Charlie, cross runway 4 left, hold short runway 4 right.
Bravo, Charlie, cross 4 left, hold short 4 right, 1124.
American 1738, you're going to make the next right turn. That's going to be Charlie, and cross runway 4 left, hold short runway 4 right.
Atlanta approach, I can see where I'm going now.
Thanks. Pacific 6691, Alpha to parking. Alpha to parking, Pacific Airways 6691, good night. November Lima Alpha 445, fly heading 100 and runway 33 left tonight.
Runway 33 left, November Lima Alpha 445.
Number 220 Echo Romeo, runway 29 clear to land.
1290, okay.
Number 57 uniform, turn left on Bravo, and taxi to signature via Bravo, good night.
It's possible to get taxi to the active again. We're looking for just a southbound departure back home.
Number 1457 uniform, proceed straight ahead on Mike, hold short of Echo.
Straight Mike, short Echo 57 uniform.
Number 57 uniform, cross runway 27 on Mike.
Cross 27 on Mike, 57 uniform.
American 1738, cross runway 4 right at Charlie, hold short runway 33 left at Delta. Number Lima Alpha 445, verify heading 100.
Rechecking, turning to the left to 100, November Lima Alpha 445.
No sir, that's a right turn. Turn right heading 100.
Right to 100, November Lima Alpha 445.
Number 1457 uniform, actually stand by.
Sure, coming out there on Mike.
Number 220 Echo sorry, who was that?
Number 220, Echo Romeo.
Where are you, sir?
Bedford 29 clear on Mike at the end.
Oh, number 220 Echo Romeo. Okay, where are you parking?
SPO's fine, we can just take Mike all the way.
Number 220 Echo Romeo, taxi to parking, good night.
Thank you, parking 0, coming in.
Number 57 uniform, turn right on Echo, hold short, runway 4 right at Papa.
Okay, we'll make a right turn on Echo, short 4 right on Papa, 57 uniform.
American 1738, cross runway 33 left at Delta, hold short runway 27.
I'm guessing I took too long to land.
American 1738, cross runway 33 left at Delta, hold short runway 27. American 1738. Southwest 1124, cross runway 4 right at Charlie, hold short runway 30 left at Delta.
Cross 4 right at Charlie, hold short 33 left at Delta, 1124.
American 1738, Boston. Denver Lima Alpha 445, fly heading 060, maintain 2000.
Heading 060, 2000. November Lima Alpha 445.
Number 57 uniform, cross runway 4 right at Papa, hold short runway 33 left at Delta.
Cross 4 right on Papa, short 33 left on Delta 57 uniform.
And what's your direction of flight, sir?
I'm looking to be southwestbound.
Okay, I request whenever you're ready.
We're ready.
Number 1457 uniform is cleared in the Bravo. On departure, fly runway heading, maintain VFR at 3000. Departure frequency 133.0, squawk 3436.
Okay, we're cleared into the Boston class Bravo on departure, VFR 3000, departures with you, squawking 3436, 57 uniform.
Number 57 uniform, read that correct. American 1738, runway 27, line up and wait. American 1738, runway 27, line up and wait. Denver Lima Alpha 445, report the airport in sight.
The airport is on site. November Lima Alpha 445.
Denver Lima Alpha 445, proceed inbound, runway 3 for left, altitude your discretion.
Proceeding to 3. Outbound at my discretion. November Lima Alpha 445.
Proceed inbound, runway 33 left, altitude your discretion.
Proceeding to 33 left, altitude at my discretion. November Lima Alpha 445.
American 1738, runway 3 left, clear for takeoff. Southwest 1124, cross runway 3 left at Delta, hold short runway 27.
Cross 33 left at Delta, hold short 27, 1124.
Number 1457 uniform, cross runway 3 left at Delta, hold short runway 27.
33 left at Delta, we'll cross that, hold short 27, 57 uniform.
Boston approach Air Canada 2817, information Hotel IFR to Montreal.
Expected PDC.
Roger.
Boston approach evening, fostering Alpha Mike Pop, pushing 5 arrival, we're at 7600 down to 6000, we have information hotel.
I'm closing in like 5 minutes, have a nice day.
Alright.
Denver Lima Alpha 445, runway 3 left, clear to land.
33 left, clear to land. November Lima Alpha 445.
Southwest 1124, runway 27, line up and wait traffic, 3 mile final for the crossing.
27 line up and wait, 1124.
Lima Alpha 445, exit left on Foxtrot.
Exiting left on Foxtrot, November Lima Alpha 445.
Southwest 1124, runway 27, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, Southwest 1124.
Number 57 uniform, runway 27, line up and wait.
Line up and wait 27, 57 uniform.
November Lima Alpha 445, cross runway 4 right at Foxtrot, hold short runway 4 left.
Crossing at Foxtrot on 4 right or 4 left and holding short of 04 left. 04. Crossing 04 right, holding short of 04 left. November Lima Alpha 445.
November Lima Alpha 445, cross runway 4 left at Foxtrot, then Bravo to parking, good night.
Crossing 04 left and Bravo to parking. November Lima Alpha 445. No, have a good night, you too, Boston approach.
Number 57 uniform, fly heading 290, runway 27, clear for takeoff.
290, clear for takeoff, runway 2757 uniform.
Southwest 1124, radar contact, climb and maintain 14,000, stay altitude leading.
1,600 for Southwest 1124.
Okay, climb and maintain 14,000, please.
14,000, 1124.
Number 57 uniform, radar contact, stay altitude.
400 for 3000 in the right turn.
Number 57 uniform, thanks, altitude, your discretion.
Our discretion, 57 uniform, just for your purpose to be 4,500 for now.
Thanks.
Alright. So we're gonna wait till Boston closes. We're gonna stay on the stream, just, you know, do some random shit. Stay until Boston closes. I did a fucking burner butter type of landing. I flared extra hard. My bang. The fucking nose went down. Like, took a little bit. I was about to crash it. I had to give it a little bit more gas before ending really short. I'm guessing the frequency of my approaches with 36%, 10% at 300 doesn't really work when the runways are fucking massive. Like that runway right there was pretty far or whatever, and the ILS had already, you know, the ILS put me like on hella, like really early from the number.
Number 57 uniform, proceed on course.
I had to, you know, I had to compensate.
Southwest 1124 is leaving my airspace, Boston Center closed, radar service terminated, frequency change approved.
I had to compensate with a little bit more gas, but I still got a butter.
122.8 Unicom, thanks for the ATC 1124.
I know what I'm doing. For the most part. So let's wait until Boston. Let's wait until Boston decides to take a nap. And we'll be back in the skies in no time. We're just gonna stay on stream here and chill, listen to music or something until Boston is gone. So that I don't bother him no more. So he goes to bed safely. You see that? I was talking, thinking that my radio was already live, but it isn't. And I'm short.
Number 57 uniform, only closing now, radar service terminated, frequency change approved, have a good night.
Let's wait till he closes. Like, I don't have a, how do you call it? I don't have a
Number 57 uniform, I'm going to be closing now, radar service terminated, frequency change approved, have a good night.
A button. Like this thing.
Sorry about that, I thought I had the mic queued up. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks for the service as always. See you.
Yeah. Attention, all aircraft, Boston approach now closed at this time. All aircraft monitor Unicom 122.8.
See ya.
There we go. So this is our flight. We're headed to Sint. We're headed to fucking Sint, North Carolina from Boston. Excuse me. Alright. We already have where we're headed. We have our an $8,000 flight. Let's start setting it up. Now that we know that Boston has gone to sleep, we'll take a potty break. We're going to North Kakalaka, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Let's set all this stuff up. Flight plan, we're going to Kent from Bose. What time is it? Oh, 255, so we're probably departing at 320 Zulu. 320 Zulu, 325. What's our nearest airport? That's the alternate. Kilo. Oscar, Whiskey Delta. Alright, this is the south. No, this is a west flight. West flight. We're not going to file it just yet. We're going to wait for the tower to go offline. Let's check fantastic, and it's officially offline. So we are on our own. Let me go to the restroom, or the loo, whatever you guys call the restroom nowadays. And I shall be right back. Then we have Snapple. We can start this flight plan. Apparently there's no wind. So we begin. 220. No, cancel. I'm not gonna fly no flight without a full tank of gas. Fuel. $294. Close on that. We are ready to rumble. I'm guessing if I'm looking like that, 22R is going to be my takeoff. So I'm headed to Alpha in November. Through Alpha in November and through all of that. I'll give an AF. Alright. 12,000 feet on the altimeter. 12, 5, 12, 5, AP, no navigation, hit at 5%. We have a little crosswind at 2, but I don't think it's going to be, I think the crosswind that we have right now is going to be negligible. So, we are ready to go, 67%. Go, go, go. Alright, 190, 1 butter landing, 3 passengers, right? So we could definitely tell them, I'm sorry, I didn't give them no no positive introduction, I didn't tell them, like, hey, In-flight magazine, entertainment.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be shortly starting our in-flight entertainment system on the screen.
564 miles headed to Salem, North Carolina from Boston.
Additional features such as subtitles and as well as change languages using the remote.
All right. 7,000 feet. And climbing. You turn off these. No. 94, under 200, 1,000 more feet, 80%, we should be on our way.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now passed the altitude of 10,000 feet. All electronic devices may now be switched off from airplane mode. This aircraft is equipped with Wi-Fi. Please see a flight attendant for more information.
I don't know why above Boston my FPS is so crappy, but I don't see shit. There shouldn't be a reason why my FPS is so cocky. No idea. Let's put the tablet. Miraculous tablet. So we're heading all the way down here. Virginia. Down here. The book says Salem. Salem. I'm headed in here somewhere. I don't know where, but it's definitely in here. Let's listen. No, I don't want to listen to music. The plane's just going to crash. Let's listen to scary stories then. Let's open Spotify and see the... Let's look for scary stories or something like that. Alright, let's see. Who the heck is on? Atlanta is on, Seattle is on, Los Angeles is on, all that area is on, and I'm guessing there's another Bravo. I'm gonna cross a Bravo, but nobody cares. I'm gonna be above them anyway. As long as they need me to move, they're gonna notify. They're likely going to notify me on the thing. But that Spotify isn't loading. Thank you.
Hundreds of people go missing in our national parks each year, not to mention the ones who go missing on their own property. The woods can be a peaceful, beautiful place, but it can also be dark and foreboding. We're accustomed to the idea of violence in our cities, but somehow it seems more disturbing while out in the forest. Is it because we're alone? Because we're too far away for anyone to hear our screams? Too far away for rescue services to arrive quickly? Or because there's someone or something in the woods with us that isn't supposed to be there? Join me tonight for another terrifying episode of The Nightmare Society. Tonight's episode features some graphic violence, so this is your warning. Back in 2011, I was with a circle of friends that made it a tradition to go camping at a certain spot every May. Long weekend. The spot we chose was in a beautiful area right on the edge of a large lake and was located on government land. The lake itself had a dam on it, so during May the water levels were always low, if not completely empty, making it possible to walk across it. People were allowed to camp there as long as they weren't causing trouble or making a mess, and it was generally a good time for everyone. The spots themselves were paced far enough apart that you had your own privacy, but not far enough that you couldn't meet other people. In this particular year, our spot was in the middle of a small hill with one campsite below us and one above us. The first night, our trip happened without incident. During the second day, the people staying at the site below us had moved in. We didn't think much of it and continued drinking throughout the day and into the night. At around midnight, the people at the campsite below us were really out of control. They were yelling and screaming, and their music had gotten even louder, so our friend Ben went down to ask them to turn it down. He was promptly punched in the face, and he came back to inform us that he was 90% sure they were on drugs. After that, the vibe wasn't as relaxed as we were all somewhat on edge. I was feeling really tired, so I just decided to go to bed. Some of my friends were still awake, including Ben and one couple, Lily and Derek, that were visiting another campsite we had made friends with that day. I could hear that the campsite below us was still blasting their music and partying pretty hard, but I just tried to ignore it and go to sleep. I don't know what time it was when I was jolted awake. Parts of this are somewhat of a blur. All I know is that I sat straight up as soon as I heard the screaming and yelling coming from outside my tent. I quickly ran outside to find our campsite in chaos. One of my friends was clutching their chest. People were running around and screaming to call 911. I was quickly informed of what happened. Apparently, not long after I had gone to bed, the people camping at the site below us decided they weren't finished talking to Ben, and on their way up, they had encountered Lily and Derek walking back. Now, Derek and Ben are about the same height and have the same color hair, so they assumed that Derek was Ben and bottled both him and Lily over the head with a full glass bottle. I don't know if it was the same guys that showed up at our campsite, but I was told that everyone was sitting around the fire when 2 or 3 guys appeared from the darkness and walked over to them. One had a paring knife and the other had a butcher knife in their hands. Ben saw the knives and had gotten up to talk to them and had barely spoken a word when the guy with the paring knife stabbed him once in the chest. At the same time, some people from the campsite above had seen the guys coming and came down to help. One of the guys, Tim, was coming down the hill when the guy with the butcher knife ran up to him and stabbed him in the stomach. From there, sheer panic ensued. People called 911, but the ambulance was over half an hour away. This is where I came out of the tent. Tim's wound was bleeding profusely and he was losing blood way too quickly. His friends ended up putting him in the back of his car and speeding off to meet the ambulance halfway. Ben was also bleeding, but his wound wasn't as deep as Tim's and we were able to keep him calm until an ambulance arrived. The guys with the knives ran off into the darkness back down to their campsite and took off in their Land Rover. My boyfriend at the time and I had gotten into his car and drove to the entrance to try and flag down the policemen on their way to the scene. Once they arrived, we were informed to stay in the car as they had released a K-9 search unit to hunt down the people who stabbed our friends. By the end of the night, they had arrested the men. They had tried to flee by driving their vehicle across the lake bed where they got stuck in a muddy section of the lake. They were on a concoction of several drugs, as suspected. Luckily, both Tim and Ben survived, although Tim had lost a lot of blood and took a few weeks to recover from his wounds. Eric and Lily had huge goose eggs, and possibly one person had a concussion, but I can't recall. It was definitely the scariest thing I have ever experienced, and a few of us had to testify against them in court. I've attached an online article about it if you're interested in reading it. My husband and I went camping for the first time ever in Arizona as a part of our long trip out west. I had picked out this really cool place that was on a mountain overlooking a beautiful landscape. It's next to a cliff and in a really isolated location. I'm talking like 20 miles out on gravel roads in the middle of a national forest. So we get there and set up our tent and hike a little bit and take some pictures of the surrounding area. We see a few cars parked around two tents and decide to stop and talk to the other campers nearby because we had heard that there was going to be a bad storm that night. These were 4 guys who were from Arizona, and they told us not to worry and that the storm didn't get that terrible around this area. That was all the persuading that we needed to stay. Later on, while walking a bit further down the campsite, we see a woman there with her dog and another older lady. We smile and wave and continue to hike down a bit further into the forest. Let me elaborate that because of the storm, we are one among maybe a total of 7 campers that decided to stay and withstand the night. We watch the sunset when we get back to our site, make sure our car was only a few yards away, and go into our tent when it gets too dark to see. There are no stars tonight due to the storm clouds, and it hasn't begun to rain yet, so we decide to try to sleep right away so that we could possibly sleep through the storm when it does hit. It is an insanely windy night, so it's hard to sleep, but eventually we get a bit of shut-eye. I wake up at 10:30 p.m. to the sound of some crazy thunder rolling through the mountains and rain hitting down on our tent. I'm a little freaked out because they get a lot of flash floods out there, and I didn't want to fall off the side of the cliff. But I tell myself to try to sleep, and eventually I doze off again. It's 12 a.m. and I'm awake again. This time because I hear something heavy hitting the side of our tent. Like full on sounded like someone could have been punching our tent and sliding something down the side of it. I open my eyes and can't see anything. It's completely dark. No light whatsoever. The sound continues every couple of minutes, and at this point I am shitting bricks. Suddenly I hear footsteps right next to my side of the tent. They're slow, but steady. I feel my entire body freeze up. I seriously start thinking about how this is it, and I am going to die. My heart is beating so fast that I'm certain whatever is out there can hear it. Then whatever it is lets out a deep sigh right on the opposite side of the tent. I'm thinking it's a bear and realizing that I might actually have to face this thing. In a desperate call for my husband's mind-reading powers, I squeeze his hand really hard repetitively and he wakes up. But instead of reading my mind, he blurts out,
"What's wrong? Why are you squeezing my hand?"
Right as he says this, the footsteps stop. I don't hear the footsteps again, so After a while, I break out of my frozen state and tell him what I heard. We decided it might have been an animal passing by. But whatever is hitting our tent continues every so often, and I'm starting to go a little insane from this night, wondering what is going on. We convince ourselves that it's just pines falling from the trees above us and try to sleep again. We just need to make it through one more night, and then we can laugh about all of this in the morning. A couple of minutes go by, and suddenly the tent caves in on my husband's right side, right on his head. He whispers that it feels like something is pushing the tent down. I feel my heart instantly sink. I'm freaking out, thinking it's a bear that just sat on his head, but he decides to push back, and we hear the familiar noise of something sliding off of our tent that we've been hearing for the past few hours. We then realize that it's been snowing outside, and that the noise we heard hitting our tent was heavy ice falling from the trees onto our tent. Our tent is covered in thick ice, and my husband pushes the tent from the inside until all the ice slides off. Still determined to make it through the night and a little relieved that it was just ice and not a bear, we try to sleep and make it to sunrise. We keep on a small light that my husband luckily brought with him just to calm us down a little. Things are starting to seem normal again. We both close our eyes, and it's 3 a.m. at this point. Not even 30 minutes after we're settling down, my literal worst nightmare happens. Out of the pitch black night, we hear a woman screaming. We distinctly hear her say,
"What the fuck? Oh my god, what the fuck?"
followed by some other non-tangible words that sound something like, "Help." The way that she screams doesn't sound like anger. It sounds like pure terror and a sense of panic. My husband and I are both frozen, looking at each other. I quickly shut off our light and start panicking and asking what we should do, because what the fuck? How is this really happening right now? While we are trying to decide what to do for the next few minutes, we hear her again. But this time she is screaming,
"No, no, 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 no,"
as we hear a car speed off into the night. I'm in tears at this point. We have no idea what is happening. It's dead silent now, save for the icy rain hitting our tent. It definitely sounded like she wasn't in the car, but more like she was desperately yelling after it or begging not to be hurt. And this was the breaking point. Because I could take the bad weather. I could take the possibility of a bear outside my tent. I could even take the ice falling on our heads in one of the warmest states in America. But one thing I cannot and will not ever be able to handle is a screaming person in the middle of the pitch black woods at 3 a.m. We decide to get the fuck out of there and even contemplate leaving our tent and booking it to our car. But instead we try to stay level-headed and grab our valuables and put them in the car first. We frantically gather our things and stay close as we shuffle to our car. I close the door and keep the lights off for a while, scared to attract any unwelcome visitors. And while my husband goes back to grab the tent, I start the car and call 911. I tell them what I heard and where we are, and they say that they are sending someone to the campsite to make sure everything is okay. Only thing is, we are literally in the middle of nowhere, and it will definitely take them more than an hour to arrive. Not to mention the storm left those gravel roads in some pretty terrible conditions. So my husband and I decide to start driving, and it's like 3:30 a.m. now. As we drive out of the campsite, my husband notices one last eerie detail that stuck with me. The 4 guys that we had talked to earlier had left. All 3 of their cars were gone, while their tents remained. Whatever scared them off, they sure left in a hurry. It was only after we started driving that the thought occurred to me. Whatever was walking next to my tent may not have been an animal. It very well could have been someone lurking around in the dark who decided to go after the girl we had seen previously on our hike. I'm not sure what went down on that lone mountain that night, and I hope that everyone got out okay. So, whatever was at our campsite that night terrorizing us all, let's not ever meet again. This is my first time posting, and this hiking story happened years before I was aware of missing 411 or any strange occurrences happening in the wilderness. I was hiking alone on a semi-popular trail in the Chuckanut Mountain Range in Washington State. Noting the Chuckanuts do have cougars, black bears, coyotes, etc., although I'm not sure that's too relevant to my story. I remember not seeing anyone for the entire hike, which was unusual for the area, but I didn't think too much of it. After reaching the viewpoint of this hike, an uneventful ascent, I turned around and was making my way down sometime in the late afternoon, maybe 2 or 3 p.m. About a quarter of the way down, I got that common silence falls over the forest, with even the light breeze seeming to stop. I turned around and noticed a fern on the ground was moving. I moved closer to see what the cause was, and there was nothing there, and that scared the shit out of me. This fern was standalone, like not in a thick patch of ferns like you commonly see them, not on a hillside, and I could see all around the fern, including the ground. I was thinking small animals, squirrel or something, but I don't know how to emphasize enough that there was nothing there that could have been hidden or that I couldn't see. It was slightly off the trail, like 3 feet, so I could circle it, and did exactly that. I don't know why I was so drawn to this in the first place, but it was just weird. After about 30 seconds of investigation, things get really fucking freaky. I start hearing a voice, not in English, but speaking in an Eastern European language, from what I assume. I couldn't understand it, and I couldn't tell where it was coming from. I got the chills and the other common feeling of someone or something watching me. The voice lasted for about 10 seconds, also like that feeling that was coming from all around. At this point, I drew out my pistol because fuck that. I'm slowly backing away from the fern. The voice has stopped, but the forest is still dead. Now, I don't know if this was my instinct, a voice I actually heard, or an auditory hallucination from being so freaked out, but something said, like a whisper. So I followed this advice. I holstered my pistol and took off down the trail. I didn't see anyone else the entire time I'm sprinting down. I don't know what happened, and I haven't had any other occurrences out in the woods. I was theorizing after reading the 411 series. Someone maybe luring people in? I don't know if this is connected or some other rational explanation, but wanted to post it here for your thoughts. Also, the Chuckanut Mountain Range isn't quote-unquote deep woods, and I have friends who've told me of homeless people camping out there. I bring this up because a buddy of mine was essentially stalked by a man in a trench coat while running on a different loop. I know Paulides doesn't allude to serial killers, and I don't believe it's that either. I know he's starting to venture into some more urban areas in this blend of heavy forest between 2 reasonably populated areas, Bellingham and Burlington. Just throws a monkey wrench into my ideas of what could have caused this, and obviously the 411s. As always, some truly disturbing encounters. I don't know about you, but those stories are going to be cycling through my mind on my next camping trip, if there ever is one. For those interested, Missing 411 is a book series and a documentary following the strange disappearances happening in our national forests. The jurisdiction to cover these disappearances is in a gray area, which leads to issues and actually figuring out what is happening. There are also some very strange circumstances surrounding them. I recently ordered the Missing 411 book series and will be hopefully covering some cases from them. If this interests you or there's any other subjects that you would like me to cover, please comment below and let me know what type of stories you'd like to hear. Also, please do contact me at the email listed if you have stories you'd like to share of your own. We're always looking for new ones. A huge thanks to our contributors for helping make this episode happen. And thank you for listening. Until next time, stay safe. When you're a child, most things in life have the ability to be scary. However, there's a certain innocence in kids that sometimes makes them unaware of what really is dangerous. A nice man looking for a cute lost puppy isn't scary at all compared to the monster under your bed. But in reality, the man is far more sinister than any childhood monster. Tonight's episodes feature just this. Childhood encounters with people far more dangerous than anything a kid could ever imagine. Welcome to the Nightmare Society. This happened around
after the Bravo above Washington.
Around when I was 10.
I'm gonna get down to 5,000
Often
feet.
our school would do fire drills 3 times a year.
And I also gotta check what's there for me to make the money.
For emergencies.
We're headed to
This
another
happened
one.
around mid-year when we'd already done our lockdown drill months ago. So when the specific siren went off, I knew it wasn't a drill. At the time, I was in the toilet and the sirens started blaring. Of course, I was scared, leaving myself locked in a stall. We were always told if we were in the bathroom, a teacher would come get us and take us to the nearest classroom for safety. I remember counting and waiting a few minutes for whatever teacher would find me, but none came. I decided to exit the bathroom and walk around in the yard a bit. The sirens were still going, so trying to hear for anything wasn't really an option. At the front of the school, there was a dirty man who was leaning on the fence, just staring towards the school, knife in hand. When he noticed me, he waved before entering the school, walking towards me. Of course, I started running away, heading towards the bins and hiding between those. He never found me, but I know he was arrested because my mom brought up the info on him recently, describing that he'd been watching the school every day in his car, and the reason the school went into lockdown was because they witnessed him stand in front. And the reason why my mom told me this info recently was because she thought I couldn't handle it back then.
I'm in the thunderstorm.
When I was young, from the ages of 2 to 10, I lived on a 7-acre ranch.
I'm apparently in a thunderstorm right now.
Property where we lived, a huge grass yard and cabinet shop behind it, and an orchard in the very back full of walnut trees. My father was a carpenter that always worked in the shop, and my mother was a school teacher that was almost always busy.
It'd be nice to have live
because of
weather.
their jobs and the fact that they were new to parenting. As I got older, they really didn't pay as much attention as they should to where I would wander off. I would spend my days roaming around the yard, laying in the dirt, and running through the walnut trees. I obviously didn't question my lack of supervision, as it was fun to explore this huge plot of land, and I just thought I was being a normal kid. When I was about 7 years old, my father surprised me with a brand new child-sized ATV. It wasn't one of the electric ones that you are probably picturing either. It was a damn fast gas-powered quad four-wheeler. Now at this point, a good amount of you are probably questioning why someone would give a gas-powered ATV to a 7-year-old child. But like I said, my parents were a bit reckless, and they, well, my dad just wanted me to have fun. Pretty much right after I got the thing, I learned how to ride it by myself and started going farther into and past the property than I ever had before. I now had a free ride to basically as far as my young self would let me go before turning back. I started riding through the orchards behind my house almost every day, and I loved it more than I had loved anything before. I would leave my house and be gone for hours. After a while, I gradually started roaming farther and farther away from my house as I became more brazen and a little older. I would ride down this dirt path that would lead past what I assumed was our neighbor's land and to a ditch that held water. At the time, I just liked looking at the water as it flowed, and I felt like I was a little explorer. I honestly never contemplated that what I was doing could be the least bit dangerous, and I don't think my parents knew how far I was riding. When I think back on it now, just the idea of riding a pretty dangerous piece of equipment far away from my house without my parents knowing where I was, and before cell phones existed, is pretty scary in itself, as I could have crashed or hit my head and no one would have been able to find me. However, luckily this never happened, and it was not what the story is about. So one day, like every other day, I was riding far away from home and I passed by a man wearing a dirty white shirt, denim jeans, and a wicker farmer's hat. I remember it vividly as it was the first person I had seen in all the time I had been out there. I remember the surprised look in his eyes when he stared at me while I rode past him. I had no reason to stop, and my parents had always taught me about stranger danger, so I kept going and just forgot about it.
We're going to Canada after this
later,
one.
I was coming up to the same spot.
Straight to
and it
Nova
dawned on me
Scotia.
that this is where I had seen the man. I looked ahead, not expecting him to be there. As I said, it had been hours. Yet, as the trees parted, there he was. I really didn't think it was too weird because I figured that he was either a farmer or a homebody, so I kept driving, coming closer to where he was. He seemed friendly, to be honest. He had a big smile on his face like he was happy to see me. To my 10-year-old self, I just thought he was a friendly guy, so I waved at him as I passed by, and he waved back. I continued on my way and drove home, not thinking much about it. I don't really remember how much time had passed between then and the next time I went riding, but it couldn't have been more than a couple of days. Like usual, I took the same dirt road, past the same few orchards, to the same ditch.
Alright, we're going to be out of Bravo and 3.
I didn't think much about my previous encounter, so I hadn't been thinking about the stranger with the big smile. I was sitting on the edge of the ditch when I heard footsteps in the dirt coming up from behind me. Again, I remember this vividly because it was not a common occurrence to see anyone on this trail. I remember being more curious than scared and turned around to see the same stranger with a smile. This time, his smile seemed to be more of a toothy grin. He called out to me as he walked up, asking what my name was in a heavy Southern drawl. I told him with confidence that I wasn't really allowed to talk to strangers, to which he said,
That's a good idea, although you really should be out here all by yourself. It can be dangerous for a kid your age.
I remember this striking me in the gut with a little bit of a butterfly feeling. I wasn't afraid, but I felt uneasy. This piqued my curiosity, however, as I wondered what he meant, so I asked him. He continued to walk closer to me slowly and answered,
I heard they found a little boy out here, just around your age. I think it was that ditch right near where you drowned.
I would like to point out here that although my parents were reckless, they were not stupid. If there had been a drowning near our house that was reported, or there had been a story in the paper, they definitely wouldn't have let me out anymore. Anyways, he continued.
I wouldn't kill you, and I'll take you back to the homes. It's not safe out here for a kid your age.
It's okay, I have my quad right there. I'll just ride them.
I pointed over to the side of him where my quad was, but he didn't look. His eyes remained fixed on me. They were deep brown, almost black, and piercing into me. At this point, I was scared, and I knew that this could be a bad situation. I was hoping that he was just a concerned old man, but there was no way I was going anywhere with him. I got to my feet to start walking to my quad, to which the man said,
Should it be
I'm headed to this side.
Let's just put it in the truck.
I don't see a truck.
I said, looking around, hoping to
I'm
talk
headed
my
to
way
this
out of the
cone.
situation. He said, his smile widening.
It's really okay. I'll just go now.
I said, starting again to walk to my quad. But as I passed him, he reached and grabbed my arm. He said, staring me deep in the eyes.
It's really not safe for little kids.
Let me go, you're hurting me.
I shouted, starting to panic. But this only made him grip tighter.
Maybe you don't deserve to go back home. Well, the parents will let these kids out in the whole world. Maybe you should go
At this point, I was about to pee my pants. I was freaking out and I started to scream. I don't know if I was saying anything, I just know I was screaming as loud as I ever had before. This only seemed to anger him, as his once toothy grin turned into a face of anger. He put his hand over my face and I took this opportunity to bite his finger as hard as I could. I still remember the taste of blood, so I know I hurt him pretty bad. Thankfully, this caught him off guard as he finally let me go. I knew this was my one chance to get away from this weirdo, so I booked it to my quad as he winced in pain.
You little shit, get the fuck over here.
He cried in anger. I knew I didn't have much time, so I jumped on my quad and turned the key as fast as I could. It started up, and just as I pulled the gas handle, I felt a hand start to grab my neck. Luckily, he didn't have a grip yet, as I was already starting to drive away. I punched it and noped the hell out of there. At this point, all I could hear was the sound of my quad, so I wasn't sure if he was running after me. But I wasn't going to look, as I could possibly crash and be SOL. I drove down that dirt path as fast as the quad would go, probably the fastest I had ever driven it. When I got home, I peeled out into the dirt and ran into the house, hoping to God my mom was home. I burst into her room bawling, and there she was. She asked me what was wrong, but I couldn't talk yet as I was so afraid. I just kept bawling. I think I cried for a good 30 minutes before I could summon up the strength to stop and tell her what happened. I remember the fear in her eyes as I described what happened. She pulled me close to her and hugged me as hard as she ever had. The next day, I talked to a police officer and recounted the story of what transpired. I honestly don't remember much after this, as I think I started to block it out. It's not really something a 10-year-old wants to think about. Needless to say, they never let me off the property again. My dad started drinking, and we lost the house soon after this anyway, so I didn't have to live there much longer. Recently, I was thinking about that day after I started trying to remember various parts of my childhood. My parents had never really asked because I tried not to think about it. So yesterday, I went to her house and asked her if they found the guy, considering he had lived pretty close to our property. She was kind of startled by the question because we hadn't talked about this in 15 years. She paused for a minute as if pondering whether to tell me and said, "We didn't have any neighbors out that way. It was all corporate-owned land, and the description you gave didn't match any of the neighbors in either direction. We called the cops and they went to search where you told us you were, but the guy was long gone by the time we got there. They looked around the property and found an abandoned house that hadn't been used in years since the land was purchased. When they looked inside, they could tell that we had been staying there. Apparently, he left his stuff behind. We never told you this because you were way too young, but one of the things they found was a black grocery bag. Not a roll of duct tape and a $100 inside. Thanks, Mom, but did I really need to know that? When I was about 10 years old, I shared a room with my older brother, who was about 15. We lived in a suburb area in New York. Not the greatest area, but not really prime either. There are 2 windows in my room, one that overlooks the backyard and one that connects to the front porch. It came in quite handy for my brother to sneak out and meet with friends. If you step out of the window, you're on the porch, so anyone on the porch can access the window. I was never bothered by that thought because, quite honestly, it had never crossed my mind. My bed was touching this window while my brother's bed was perpendicular to mine. It was an odd setup, but that's besides the point. Now, this was before we had any sort of smartphone or laptop to keep ourselves occupied, so on nights when we weren't sleepy, we would stay up talking to each other and making up dumb games to pass the time. That took place during the summer. We stayed up into the late hours of the night, perks of having to go to school. It was probably around 2 a.m. and eventually we were playing a game where one of us was a goalkeeper and the other one was taking a shot. Like football/soccer terms. We would both say at the same time either left, center, or right. If the goalkeeper guessed the same as the one taking the shot, he would get a point, and if the person taking the shot's in a position other than what the goalie said, they got a point. We went for a couple of rounds of this, and I was beating his ass at it, even though that's irrelevant. I don't remember what round we were on, but we did our 3, 2, 1 countdown. My brother, the goalkeeper, said left. I, the shooter, said center. The voice from outside the porch window said left. Me and my brother froze. We had the shade down, but my mom had left the porch light on, so that was the only light illuminating our room. The dim porch light coming in from the borders of the shade. At the time, in my house was my mother on the opposite side of the house, my sister the room over, my dad in the basement, and me and my brother shitting our pants practically. We waited for what seemed like an hour, but was probably only 30 to 45 seconds, and we heard a giggle and a playful knock at the window. The voice said in a cheerful, playful tone. Honestly, I want to say it was a scary voice and sounded menacing, but it didn't. It sounded like a woman, not too old, but not too young, and it was just normal. Like a normal sounding voice. Nothing off about it besides where it was coming from and the time it came. Me and my brother were seriously freaked out, and I was about to break down because of how close I was to this woman. The thought that all I had to do was lift the shade and I'd be face to face with this person scared the shit out of me. It made me go still and stiff as if I had just looked into Medusa's eyes. After a while of me and my brother not responding, my brother started slowly moving from his bed to the door as to not make any noise. As my brother was tiptoeing to the door, the sound of nails being ran down the window started. It was very slow from top to bottom. At that point, my brother made it to the door. He looked back at me and brought his finger to his lip, gesturing me to keep quiet. Once the nails stopped running down my window, I heard her light footsteps make their way off my porch and disappear. I laid there for an eternity, not moving until my brother returned and I saw my mom moving hastily by my door and making her way to the front door. The porch light flipped off and I was left in darkness with my brother waiting in the doorway for my mom's return. I heard my mom call my dad up and his groggy, annoyed footsteps coming upstairs. They talked and then came in me and my brother's room and we relayed what happened. Apparently my mom caught sight of a lady turning out of our driveway on foot behind some tall bushes. Thank God we had a long driveway, otherwise my mom probably would have thought we were crazy. Considering no harm was done besides leaving me terrified of my window, my parents did not call the police. They just thought it was really weird and stayed up the rest of the night to make sure she didn't return. I'm 17 now. My brother is in college, so I have the room to myself. My bed still touches the window because I'm too lazy to move the rest of the furniture in my room so I can move my bed. The shade to that window has not been opened since that incident and probably never will be. A huge thank you to our contributors, Masher Upper, Drowsy 57, and Literate Punk. Thank you for sharing your encounters with us. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can do so by leaving a review. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm always looking for true encounters and suggestions, so please send yours to nightmaresocietyradio@gmail.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at Nightmare Society Radio. Thank you for listening, and as always, stay safe. Being followed. A terrifying experience that I've heard all too often. You tell yourself it's paranoia. You say they're just going the same way I am. But your gut is telling you something's not right. Maybe your mind is playing tricks on you. Or maybe there's an evolutionary trait built into each of us. One that's been a safety switch to alert us that we are being hunted. That in this moment, we are prey. Good evening. My name is Kyle, and welcome to the Nightmare Society. This incident occurred when I was around 13 years old. I was going dress shopping for a wedding or something with my mom, my sister, my mom's friend, and that woman's daughter. My sister and the other two women rode together in one car while I rode with my mom in our car. When we arrived at our destination, a small mall somewhat in the middle of nowhere, the other members of our group headed on inside while my mom and I parked. When we got out of the car, we realized that the parking job was awful. So I held my mom's purse and stood next to the spot while she backed out and pulled back in. However, to two male bystanders, it must have appeared that my mother was leaving me. I noticed the two men when I got out of the car, but didn't think much of it. They were both tall and very skinny, and both looked pretty ratty. I turned my back to them and watched as my mother backed out. I could hear them talking, but I didn't pay much attention to what they were talking about. Red flags only started going off when I realized they were walking towards me. I'm naturally a paranoid person, so this alone sent me into a panic. I tried to reassure myself. Surely they were only headed towards their car, which happened to be in my direction. They kept getting closer, but I was too scared to move. And then I heard it. Grab her. I whipped my head around to see the pair standing right behind me, one reaching for me. Right at that moment, my mother started to pull back into her spot, and they booked it out of there, literally sprinting in the opposite direction. I told my mom about it when she got out of the car, and we spotted them speed walking behind the row of cars opposite to where we were. Their eyes were boring holes into me, and all my mother said was, "Wow, they really are staring at you." Thanks, Mom. So, earlier tonight, my friend asked me to come over to his house. I wasn't doing anything, so I decided, why not? I got there, and my two friends Sid and Liam were there. After a while, Mike showed up there too. We were just sitting around, killing time, and then eventually decided to go to Dunkin' Donuts. You may be wondering why get Dunkin' at 9:45 at night. Well, I love double chocolate donuts, and I was hungry. Anyways, after we got Dunkin', I convinced my friends to go to the train tracks by my house. I know now that this was probably a horrible idea at the time, but as bored high schoolers, anything semi-thrilling is a blast to us, especially at night. Before I start telling the rest, I have to give you an idea of where the tracks are. I live in a pretty dense forest, so driving around at night and seeing around corners is hard. Over one of the roads to get into my neighborhood is a railroad bridge that's about 15 to 20 feet above the road. After you pull into my neighborhood, you take a right and then a left to get parallel with the railroad track. The track itself is on a big rock hill thing, again about 15 to 20 feet above the road. After going parallel along the road for about a quarter mile, you can either take a left to continue along the road, or left along a dirt road still parallel with the tracks. Then, after going along that road, you can either go left into my neighborhood or right to get back along the dirt road again. Anyways, so my friends and I were driving into my neighborhood when we got around the area where you can take a left along the dirt road or a left to continue down that road. This is where everything started to get kind of weird. We saw a car going kind of slow by that corner and slowly crept around it. We decided to drive around the corner and pull into a driveway to pretend we lived there. We did this because we didn't feel like letting people know we were planning on stopping by the tracks. After staying in the driveway for a few seconds, we noticed the car that passed us stopped and turned around. I pulled out of the driveway and went the way it came and went around 40 miles per hour in a 25. I had been reading Let's Not Meet earlier and was kind of creeped out for some reason by it turning around, although I had no reason at the time. After getting a good head start on him, I slowed down. We were halfway through the stretch of the road when Liam noticed that the car we passed up earlier was gaining on us and fast. I didn't think much of it, but he started to flash his brights at me, which was very unsettling considering the circumstances. The neighborhood I live in is probably the tamest town in the state, and stuff like this rarely happens, so my friends and I were understandably bothered by this guy. We drove on while he tailgated me, and I decided to go right back to the dirt road instead of towards my house. I pulled around and saw his car slow down at the intersection and then take a left. Boy, were we happy when that ass finally relented. We went along the dirt road and back to the area you can make the lefts mentioned before, since that was the only feasible way up there. We got out of the car and climbed up onto one of those metal things over the train tracks with the red and green lights. Sid, however, was having none of it and decided to sit in the car while we dicked around. After messing around on top of that, Liam, Mike, and I went to get Sid. We started walking down the railroad tracks, and about halfway there, we heard that all too familiar sound of a train horn in the distance. That's when we decided to book it back to the car. The whole time we were running, all we could hear was the train horn getting louder and louder. And since after the bridge the tracks turned right, we wouldn't know if the train was close until it was very close. After what seemed like forever, we reached the path to get off the hill and to our car. Sid, Liam, and Mike all wanted to just go back to Sid's house and wait until later to go back. When we got back, Liam, Mike, and I just talked about how cool it was up there and how we'd do it again. But Sid was done with the train tracks for a while. After trying to convince him, we decided that we were just going to go back and Sid could stay home. Mike, Liam, and I made it back to the left turn area with no incident and decided to try to get back to the bridge again. We made it there, just talked for about 10 minutes, then decided to head back. When we were almost there, we saw a truck pull around the corner that the car had come by, and just like the car, it slowed down around the corner. This was not an, oh, I'm not trying to crash slow. This was a, I'm looking for you slow. Mike whispered for us to get down, and without hesitation, we dropped down and watched. We knew something was awry because it stopped at the left turn area with its lights pointed in our direction. My car was parked down the road a bit, so I have no idea if the car was looking at us or at my car. Either way, it did the same thing as the car and turned around to head the other direction. We knew something was up, so instead of staying on the tracks for a bit longer, we decided to dip. The only way back was either through the dirt path or the way the truck went, and we didn't have much time because Liam had to be back by 11:30. I just decided to go the fastest way and follow where the truck went, and then through the dirt road to get to Mike, Sid, and Liam's neighborhood. We were all a little shaken up because we thought we would get into trouble for something. I had just been down this road earlier when we all went back to Sid's house and thought this night of adventure was going to be over. We reached the end of the road and saw two vehicles parked along the road. Strange, we thought, because they weren't there when we dropped Sid off. After passing them, I realized they were a car and a truck. The exact same two that had been at the corner by us. This is where I started to panic, because I knew something was up. No one ever goes back there because there's no real reason. Only in my case was it faster to go on a shitty dirt road with potholes everywhere. I sped up and got to Sid's fast as I could while not looking panicked. I dropped off Mike and Liam, and Mike offered to drop Liam off on his moped. I know that sounds strange or not realistic, but for some reason Mike's family has a moped. In fact, I just found out that he has two. I drove home and didn't bother going back on the dirt path and went around a different route. For me, my night was over. For Mike, though, things were about to take a turn. About a half hour after getting home, I got a flurry of texts from Mike about what had just happened. Apparently, after dropping off Liam, he started to moped home when the truck from before started to follow him. He said at first he was far away, but then the truck came in very close to him and followed him towards his house. I have no idea why he thought to do what he did, but apparently he kept on driving past his house and lost it somehow, then walked his moped home.
I don't understand why I didn't have ILS.
Something along the lines of that. It was through the Snapchat texting thing, so unfortunately I don't have a reference, but he said when he got inside he saw the truck just sitting outside of his neighbor's house, and after a few minutes drove off. I have no idea who these people are or why they were following us, but weird, stalkery car people, let's not meet. So, this is a story that happened to my mom's friend in Korea about 10 years ago. Every time I hear this story, I still get the chills. My mom's friend lived in an apartment complex in Seoul. She was a stay-at-home mother with a young daughter.
I should have gotten butter, but I didn't.
One day, she was coming home from running errands with her daughter and got into the elevator in her building. When she got on, she noticed that there was a man wearing a cap and a yellow raincoat. He kept his head low so she couldn't really see his face.
Thank you for flying with us, and have a pleasant day.
She immediately felt really uneasy, and she made her daughter stand to her side, furthest away from the man. What made her feel even more uncomfortable was that when she pressed the button for her floor, there was no other lit number. And on top of that, she noticed that he was carrying something wrapped inside a newspaper close to his side. Things started to click in her head, and she started to panic and decided to take out her cell phone and pretend she was calling home to her husband, who was obviously really not at home and at work. She started saying things like, "Oh, I'm in the elevator about to get off. Can you get the door for me?" And making it seem like her husband was waiting at home. When the elevator did reach her floor, I think she lived on like the 12th floor or something, she quickly got off and grabbed her daughter and started to walk as fast as she could to her apartment. She noticed that the man also got off on her floor and was slowly following her down the hallway. When she got to her door, she started to bang on it and shout, "Hey, Yabo, I'm home. Please open the door." Yabo means husband or dear, and kind of pretended like he was coming to answer the door. Upon seeing this, the man in his yellow raincoat started to walk away back towards the elevator. When he seemed to be far away enough, my mom's friend quickly picked up her daughter and slid open the door's passcode thingy. This is usually how people get into their homes in Korea, and started to frantically punch in her key code. But the problem was that the buttons would make a sound, so the man knew that no one was going to answer the door for her, and he turned around and started to run back towards her. My mom's friend at this point was practically screaming, and when she finally got her door to open, the first thing she did was throw her daughter in through the door. When she got in herself, she saw that the man was pretty much inches from the door, but she managed to shut it and lock it before he could wedge his hand or weapon into the door. Afterwards, looking through the door's peephole, she saw that the man was walking away back towards the elevator. Several months later, my mom's friend was watching the news, and there was coverage on the capture of a serial killer named Yoo Young-chul, who used to kill a lot of prostitutes. She told my mom that she could never forget the dread she felt when she saw the two familiar yellow raincoat and hat that he was wearing when apprehended. Here's a note from what the wiki page says that the poster linked. Yoo Young-chul, born April 18, 1970, is a South Korean serial killer and self-confessed cannibal. Although he admitted to murdering 21 people, mostly prostitutes and wealthy old men, the Seoul Central District Court convicted him of 20 murders. One case was dismissed on a technicality. Yoo burned 3 and mutilated at least 11 of his victims, admitting he ate the livers of some of them. He committed his crimes between September 2003 and July 2004 when he was arrested. Yoo explained his motives in front of a TV camera, saying, "Women shouldn't be sluts, and the rich should know what they've done." I was about 15 at the time, with my brother 17, and it was pretty late at night. Now, my grandparents' property is surrounded by woods on 2 sides, the left leading into a deep forest of evergreen, and ending at a lake with the other houses within throwing distance. I've grown up my whole life in those woods, seen many of critters, and was never really scared of them. They were more of a place of comfort and aloneness I liked. But I digress. Back to the story. My brother and I were walking up the long driveway
intermission flight before we head to
because
the
we
next
kept
main
hearing
flight.
noises like moving branches by the tree line and wanted to check it out. We both knew whatever is in the woods, be it a raccoon, possum, coyote, whatever, that logically we could easily overpower and kill it. On our way back from investigating, I heard walking behind us, and I turned around to see. It was pretty dark, and the only thing we had for a light was my phone, which wasn't much. All I could see was 2 bright eyes staring back, maybe 3 or 4 feet from the ground. I don't know what it was particularly, but even now I'm thinking about just those eyes, and its presence filled me with the most horrific dread imaginable. It's like all my blood turned to ice and I couldn't stop shaking. It wasn't just basic instinctual fear, but absolute dread. I immediately grabbed my brother's arm and ran as fast as I could to the porch, which has a light that shines about 10 feet into the yard. Whatever this thing was followed us, and when I made it to the porch and turned around, it had stopped just outside the light. Just enough to see those fucking eyes. The way it swayed almost made me vomit. I've never seen any animal sway like that and move its head so oddly. This thing was too large to be a rabid raccoon or coyote. My brother and I quickly got inside and turned off all the lights and hid under our blankets. So So I live in a town of around 60,300 people and have been living and working here for 1.5 years. I don't know many people here as I work all day and have schoolwork in my free time. Because of this, I've been trying to meet new people and found a Facebook group with women wanting to hang out. One was suggesting a pre-party before going out, and we were 6 girls in total. At around 3 a.m., 3 of us decided to go home. One took a taxi and the other one lives like 3 minutes away from me, so we walked. We were talking and laughing for a few minutes before she went inside and I started to walk home rather happy and still a bit drunk. I suddenly noticed footsteps and got a bit paranoid, as you do being a woman in her early 20s walking home in the middle of the night. Like 50 meters further ahead, there's a public swimming pool and they still had lights on, so I decided to leave the sidewalk because usually people are just on their way home themselves and will just keep walking. Not in this case, though. As I reach the entrance with all the lights and turn around, this guy is literally 3 steps behind me. I ask him why he's following me, and he just mumbled something I couldn't make out. Could be an immigrant, though, so maybe he doesn't know Danish. I told him that he shouldn't be following me and that I'd like for him to keep going. No response. I then told him that I don't like being followed and please move on. He just smiled a creepy smile and out of nowhere grabbed my hair on the back of my head and pulled me towards him harder than I thought possible for his size. I fell on top of him and he got knocked out when he hit the pavement. Idiot. I ran across the parking lot to the road at a safe distance where I called 112 emergency while I could still keep an eye on him. Really wanted to just run home, but also I was terrified that me landing on him might kill him or whatever. Shock makes you think weird things. He attempted to get up a few times when I decided to run, but saw the lights from the ambulance come down the road, so I stayed and one of them came to check up on me while we waited for the police to arrive. I'm fine. I've got a sore scalp and a bruise on my left arm where I landed on him, and I'm sure he's got the biggest headache ever. Karma is a bitch, and here I thought I'd run out of dumb luck a long time ago.
This
was back in October.
Direct wing, code 240, Alpha 9312.
Clinic in a small town about an hour away from Frankfurt. I'm in my late 20s and female. We were there for about 2 weeks while my mom underwent treatment for cancer. Unfortunately, soon after arriving, she experienced a lot of pain in her leg, and we later found out that the cancer had spread there and her leg could break at any moment.
Atlanta Center, good evening. Bonanza 201 Romeo at 2,000, climbing to 5,500. Request flight following. We'll be by Rock Hill.
Javu 197, radar service terminated for exchange food. You have a good morning. The Bonanza calling for the call sign again?
November 201 Romeo.
Bonanza 201 Romeo, Atlanta Center, hello, squawk 2055.
20550 Romeo.
To get there, I just had to walk down the path across a street lined with inns and cafes on the side leading to the park. There are twisting paths crisscrossing each other, a lot of benches, a couple of fountains, and...
Bonanza 201 Romeo, ready to contact 17 miles southwest of the Charlotte Airport, the Charlotte altimeter 2987.
2970 Romeo.
With steps leading down to the spout. It was there that I first saw him. I was heading almost directly toward the fountain when a man's head pops up, looking directly at me. I looked back at him for a second, thinking I had surprised him just as much, and we'd do the normal look away quickly thing. I was the only one who looked away. When I looked back, I realized he was still watching me, and then I noticed he had one arm crossed over his chest and moving as though he was...
That's Atlanta Center, but like I'm not registered. I just changed. I entered to Atlanta airspace. Like I'm entering right now into that person's space. But I'm an observer, so all I did was turn off the, what do you call it? All I did was turn off the transponder, and then I'll turn it back on once I likely depart from his center.
I was almost to an area that would take the path through patches of woods, which would also take me out of the public eye, when I looked back to see if the guy was still at the fountain.
Wait, apparently I'm leaving Atlanta Center. Hold on,
I
let's check.
circle and noticed he had taken off, doing a wide loop that left a lot of opportunity for us to cross.
Center calling 6 Alpha Mike, hold a short runway 2, number 1 ready to go.
Once again, I couldn't.
Nah, I just crossed it. I'm not landing.
Boeing 6 Alpha Mike, you're released for departure. Clearance void if not off in 5 minutes. If not off in 5 minutes, advise Atlanta Center on this frequency of your intentions. Frequency change approved. Call me airborne.
Alright, frequency change approved. We'll call you airborne 6 Alpha Mike.
Hunting me. But I still stopped and decided to change directions again. This time, my dumbass.
Center 9312, descend and maintain 12000, Atlanta altimeter 2989er.
12000, Delta 9312.
Was heavily wooded.
Yeah, I'm out of Atlanta. I don't need to worry about Atlanta.
Again. That's when I noticed that he had also changed his direction and was practically jogging away from me. I looked back
We're
up the
going
path
to
and
Ottawa.
realized that continuing would leave me
Straight to
completely
Canada as the
alone
final
and
flight.
And even though I didn't know where it led, I had a fairly good idea that the path the guy was jogging up would eventually connect to this path in the woods, because they all did. So I stood at the end of the path and waited until the guy was out of sight before I turned around and headed up the opposite direction through the grass of a pretty wide open portion of the park. I got to where I was a safe distance away and pulled out my phone to start recording myself. I figured it would look just like I was video chatting with someone. This was when it was shown without a doubt.
I'm headed to
this
this
guy
one
was
right
after
here.
me, because not long after I made it across the park,
KT.
but to where I could still see the path up the hill, he comes down the very same path, looking side to side, looking for me. He eventually spots me again. I had very bright dyed red hair and was pretty easy to spot in such a wide open area. It's at this point I feel safe enough because there are people nearby and I'm within running distance of the town should this guy book it towards me. And I keep wandering around, testing to see how far this guy will go. He keeps following me, trying to stay out of sight, because at one point I turn around suddenly and watch him sprint back into some trees until eventually I go up a hill that has zero cover for him to use, and I lose track of him. I continued on to explore a different small town, making sure I'm always in a public space and easily seen, but I never saw him again. Trust your gut. My head was telling me there was no way this could be happening to me, and I almost tested it by walking up into the woods. But my gut screamed bad idea, and I couldn't be more relieved I listened. Trust your gut.
Going to this one right here.
Terrifying accounts. I tell these stories not only to scare and entertain, but also as a warning and a reminder to trust yourself. My best friend has had 2 attempted kidnappings on her, once right in front of me. You never know how you'll react, but these stories may offer some insights as to how you might, or how you should, react. A heartfelt thanks to our contributors, Professor Baroque, Eskimo Pie 910, Whale Baboon, Toddley Marks, Walira, and Goth Bitch 24. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can do so by leaving a review. I would really appreciate it. Also, please send your true scary encounters and suggestions to nightmaresocietyradio@gmail.com and follow me on Instagram at Nightmare Society Radio and Twitter at @TheKyleHaggard. Thanks for listening. Until next time, stay safe.
You would want not say, Houston, there's a light out there that's following us.
While Neil and Buzz were on the lunar surface, Neil switched to the medical channel and spoke directly with the chief medical officer, saying, they're here, they're parked on the side of the crater, they're watching us.
2, 1, 0.
Is there anything scarier than unknown danger, than something unexplained happening to you? This episode's stories are true encounters with the unknown, the unexplained, the otherworldly. Tonight, we are leaving Earth, leaving time. Welcome to another episode of The Nightmare Society. Alright, so this happened when I was about 9 or 10. I've spoken about it to my family and friends, but I've never really been able to figure out what really went down. My parents and most of my buddies just think that I was dreaming or experiencing sleep paralysis because of how active I can be when I sleep talking, walking, etc. I live in a quiet, gated community, and after 10 p.m. there isn't that much activity as everyone is usually at home. My house is 2 stories and my room is on the 2nd floor. In my room I have one large window that faces the street, and I often sleep with the blinds open so that the sun will wake me when it rises. Now, on this night, I was sleeping pretty soundly until I was woken up by a terrifying metallic sound. I'm 22 now, so the details are a little fuzzy, but I remember it sounding kind of like a garbage truck and a leaf blower combined, but about 10 times louder, and it sounded as if it was right outside my window. Remember, I'm on the 2nd floor. I woke up in a panic, and when I looked out my window, all I saw was darkness. The only issue is that whenever I would look out my window at night, normally there would be a glow of street light or some moonlight. Never just pitch black. The sound continued, and of course, as a child, I screamed out to my mother in fear. I clearly remember her walking into my room with such a calm demeanor. It was like she didn't even hear the noise. I kept asking her, actually yelling, what the noise was, but she simply said, "It's okay, everything's fine," as she closed my blinds and walked out of the room. After this, I don't remember falling asleep, but I awoke in my bed around 10 a.m. the next morning, which is much later than I usually wake up. I did remember the events of the night prior and confirmed it to myself when I noticed that my blinds were indeed closed. When I went downstairs to eat breakfast with my family, I immediately asked my mother about what happened. She then told me that she never went into my room that night and didn't hear me call for her or any loud noises. I asked my brother, whose room was right next to mine, if he heard anything, and he also said that he was undisturbed during the night. They all told me that it was probably just a nightmare, but it seemed so real, and I remember leaving my blinds open before I went to sleep. I tell this story every once in a while, and everyone tells me the same thing. But after some research and digging through subs, I was wondering if maybe I was abducted. I've had a couple of weird experiences with the paranormal, but I never considered that it could have been something alien that happened that night. What do you guys think? I was about 8 or 9, and my mom tells me we are going on a day trip to meet her high school friend. Cool. I grabbed my Game Boy Advance because I know my mom's friend has kids my age and wanted to show them up in the racing game I had. I overheard this from my mom talking with her friend at her house. They told me to leave the room because they needed to talk about adult things. Little, innocent, curious me wonders what exactly are adult things that I can't hear. Were they going to throw some new juicy cuss words out? Well, Mom's friend had a little girl who would sleepwalk at night. It started when they moved into their new house in Northern California. It was a suburban area, but not too suburban. New neighborhood with a lot of empty homes and forest patches in between each community. She was about 4 years old, and they found her one night in the backyard backyard just sitting there. After that incident, they decided they needed to lock her in the room at night and bar up her windows so that she doesn't end up in the woods nearby or anywhere besides her room, really. Mom's friend and husband wake up to a loud boom on the side of the house in the middle of the next night. Felt like something hit the house because everything shook. They check on their boys. They're good. They didn't hear anything and they go back to sleep. They check on their daughter, unlock the door, and realize she isn't in her room. They start to freak out, then hear a knock at the door. They open it. It's the effing, sleepwalking 4-year-old daughter. They ask her where she's been, and she said with the men, and points down the street. Pissed off, Dad sees 2 guys in coats walking down the street. He yells at them and starts sprinting at them. Mom's friend said coat guys didn't react at all. Coat guys turn the corner. Dad turns the corner, and they're gone. Mom and Dad check the locks and the windows. No tampering. They notify the police, who pretty much say there's not much they can do but keep an eye out. Sleepwalking 4-year-old daughter is fine, isn't scared at all, just tired and goes back to bed. After that, my mom didn't understand why I was scared as hell that night. She believes the girl was abducted but refuses to tell me what happened. Even my dad tells me that he can't tell the story. Says it's for my mom to share if she wants it shared. But overhearing this when I wasn't supposed to hear it had me tripped out as a kid. Watched The Fourth Kind later in life and was scared of that movie too. Friends all laughed at me saying it was stupid, but they didn't know about my mom's friend's story. This next one is a comment in reply to a post. Holy shit, something similar happened to me back in 2005. I was living out in the boonies with my mom. I was 15 years old. I'd been talking with a girl on and off for weeks, and I was on the phone with her. It was just before dark when this chick was telling me that if I come over to her house, she will sneak outside to hang out with me as soon as her parents go to bed. Luckily, she only lived like 2 miles away, and I had a bike. Only teenage me didn't take long to decide right then that I was going to make that trip. Luckily, my mom always went to bed super early as well. She texts me sometime after 10 p.m. that her parents went to bed. It's on. I leave for her house. As I'm riding my bike down these dark country roads, I see almost exactly what you described you saw. Orange, glowy lights in a triangular formation. They were just hanging there, still. I stopped for a second to get a better look because there were some trees obstructing my view and they started looking bigger the more I looked at them. I started to feel this really weird sensation that I can only describe as similar to vertigo. I completely black out. I wake up and I'm still on the side of the road, but not where I was before. I got super confused and couldn't quite figure out where I was for a minute. I pull out my phone to look at the time. It's dead. My bike is nowhere to be found. I start heading down the road in what I thought was the direction I came and suddenly realized where I was. I was in the opposite direction of my house from where I started. Like I was on the same road, just on the other side of it. I turn around and I realize this and run home. I get home and plug in my phone. It's like 2 a.m. and I have a bunch of missed calls and texts from that chick asking where I'm at. I go to bed and sleep like shit for the rest of the night. The next day I call that girl and I tell her what happened. She sounds skeptical. I ask her what time she called me the first time last night after I left. She said she called me at around 11 p.m. and it wouldn't go through. I left sometime after 10. I know my phone was at nearly full battery because it was on the charger before I left the house. I do find my bike later that day in the same place I remember stopping. It was just laying there on the side of the road. I remember having really crazy dreams and a bad headache for a couple of weeks after this happened. You know, after the first couple of weeks, I never really had dreams much anymore. I still don't. Not sure if it's related at all, though. I can't say for sure it was aliens or abduction or whatever, but I'll be honest. I'm not normally an anxious guy, but being outside alone at night has creeped me the fuck out ever since. Staring into the night sky gives me anxiety when I'm by myself now. Fuck everything about that night. I'm not sure I want to know what happened. I haven't really told anyone about this memory. It has stayed with me since it happened what is somewhere close to a decade ago. I was probably 9 years old. Completely normal day, and then I go to sleep. I wake up in the middle of the night despite normally being a heavy sleeper. I don't know why, but I immediately decide moving an inch would be a terrible idea. So I stay still and shut my eyes tight. I don't know why. Then I feel something. You know how you can feel what's happening around you even if you're not looking, as long as you're paying close enough attention? Imagine that, except amplified by about 400%. I could feel two presences in my room. Not near my door, no, but right next to my window on the opposite side of the room. I kept my eyes shut tight, but it wouldn't have mattered because it was dark as dark could be anyway. After remaining near my window for however long, I began to feel like they knew I was awake. Then they started moving over to me. I can see their exact path they took through my room in my mind based on what I felt. Almost comparable to how you might imagine Toph would see in Avatar. Adrenaline-fueled heightened senses, I suppose. They both stand right in front of my bed. I'm laying on my side facing toward them. The one closer to my head bends down and gets near my face. I don't hear anything. I can only feel them. They stay like this for another short while, and I'm panicking beyond belief, concentrating on keeping my mind in check so that I can stay alive. I pray to God that they go away, and then peace. I have no idea what happened after that. I don't even remember waking up, despite this memory of the encounter and peace that followed it being extremely vivid. I had ruled it off as demons, as that falls in line with my beliefs, but after reading a few other encounters, I don't know what to think. I would not believe in aliens if not for this experience, and the next ones. The same year, perhaps 5 months before or 5 months after, I was taking out the trash, and once I got to the end of my driveway and dropped off the cans, we had a really long driveway. I looked up to search for the two dippers, as I always liked to do. I didn't expect to see about 5 shapes in the air. One, which took up maybe 1/12 of the circumference of the sky, if that makes sense, was composed of 4 bright lights assembling what was perhaps a trapezoid-esque shape. It was emitting what appeared to be similar to a headlight on a car, except huge, of course. It was stationary and revealed no stars behind it. To the right, there were 2 big, bright, stationary lights. Seemed more like individual ships, much larger than stars. Between them was a moving assembly of 3 red lights, forming a perfect triangle, going up, I guess. It almost looked like it was following the 5th entity, which I think was just one of our satellites. Small, fast, zipping on by. I would have thought the triangle could have been an airplane, of course, but it looked way too big for how it was moving and how far away it appeared to be. I've seen this triangular ship 2 other times as well. Once when I was even with other people, though it was too fast for anyone else to see it. We were in a moving car and it went out of view. I have no explanation for these events, only the vivid memories and assurance that I didn't dream these events up. On top of these experiences, I also noticed another similarity between me and people who claim to have been abducted. A strange fascination, almost obsession with aliens when they were younger, which suddenly stopped, at least for a while. I've also felt that odd sensation that many others have expressed when certain things are shown or brought up. You begin shaking, quivering, and tearing up. You don't know why, but you know you have to get away from what triggered it, which in my case is 100% every time related to aliens being shown or discussed in the media. Doesn't happen every time aliens are brought up, but when it happens, it's when aliens are brought up. Am I blowing all of this out of proportion? Is my experience similar to anyone else's? Please let me know. I feel kooky. A huge thank you to our contributors, Jurassic Sex, Earth Navigator, Apocalyptic, and Mr. Beans. If you would like to support the podcast, you can do so by leaving us a review and sharing with your friends. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Until next time, stay safe.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt sign. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
My X game shut down. So weird. That was so weird. Gotta open X plane again. What the heck happened? Hackers. Hackers. I tell you, hackers. All types of hackers. Aliens. Aliens. Hackers. Hackers, I tell you. Hackers. So I'm at KNKT. Getting ready to take off, and the game decides to just snap. Just like, crashed again. This is definitely after. This is definitely some alien stuff. I stopped Spotify to see if that's it. Some evil shit. earlier today, I don't know if you guys are hearing me. Earlier today, X-Plane used to crash because of the tablet. Like it couldn't load something on the tablet and it just crashed. I gotta stop it from loading in the like I put 5,000 files in the tablet, PDF files, and X-Plane couldn't read it, it pooped. Just like that, just drop the FAA file into the tablet to stop working. Yeah. Maybe Swift. Hold on. Let's terminate Swift. The third time. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I don't like it. I'm guessing it was Swift. Let's see. Let's see what the fuck is causing that crash. I think this is also a beta, so that could be it too. All I know that today, the fucking tablet crashed the game. Every time I tried to just basically try to load data into the tablet crashed it. So maybe it could be the tablet. I gotta make sure that I untick the freaking load into the latest map or whatever. Let's see. It's just a bunch of hackers. Because something open and they probably just DDoS in my stream. Like, How bored could you get that you're dedosing a fucking stream? Let's see. No, it's crashing unexpectedly. Guess I'll just shut down the stream. I'll turn it back on and finish the flight later after I figure out what the heck is the problem. Maybe it's just the stream or the OBS, so I'm going to continue trying until I get it on, and I'll start the stream midway for the end of it. It looks like it's SwiftBus. SwiftBus is having a problem, so I got to check that out. I'm going to shut down the stream and I'll be back later.